You know that feeling when you're scrolling through a dozen espresso machines, wondering if you'll end up spending a good chunk of cash on something that looks impressive on paper but turns out to be a daily headache in the back of your CAF? I get it. You've probably heard the hype about dual boiler machines, seen glossy photos of stainless steel bodies, and imagined the perfect latte art flow. At the same time, the fear of locking yourself into a piece of equipment that either takes too much space, demands a steep learning curve, or simply doesn't deliver the hot water you need for an Americano keeps you from hitting buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down whether the UMJIGF commercial dual boiler semi-automatic espresso machine actually lives up to those hopes, and who should seriously consider it versus who might be better off looking elsewhere. First off, let's talk about the environment this machine is built for. The commercial label isn't just marketing fluff, it means the unit is expected to run for several hours a day, handle back-to-back drinks, and still produce consistent temperature and pressure. The dual boiler design is the core of that promise. One boiler stays dedicated to brewing while the other stays on steam, so you can pull a shot and froth milk at the same time without waiting for the temperature to stabilize. In a real-world CAF, that's a huge time saver during the morning rush. Imagine a line of customers ordering a straight espresso, a cappuccino, and an Americano all within a minute. With a single boiler system, you'd have to finish the shot, purge the group head, then fire up the steam, often losing precious seconds. The UMJIGF lets you keep both processes running in parallel, which translates directly into faster service and less stress on the barista. That said, the machine isn't a full-size, multi-group beast you'd find in a high-volume espresso bar. It's a single-head unit, which makes sense for smaller operations, a boutique coffee shop, a hotel minibar, or even a co-working space that wants to offer a premium coffee experience without dedicating a whole wall to espresso gear. The compact stainless steel chassis fits into a tight countertop footprint, leaving room for a grinder, a small fridge, and maybe a pastry display. If you run a place with 3 or more baristas pulling drinks simultaneously, you'll quickly hit a bottleneck. In those scenarios, you'd be better off with a dual group or even a triple group machine, even if that means spending more on floor space. One of the practical strengths that often gets overlooked is the independent hot water system. Many commercial espresso machines bundle the hot water for American-style coffee through the same boiler used for brewing, which can cause temperature fluctuations and longer recovery times. The UMJIGF separates that function, so you have a dedicated line for hot water that can be tapped directly for an Americano, a tea service, or even a quick rinse of the portafilter. In my own test, the hot water came out at a steady, near boiling temperature within seconds of pressing the lever, and the flow rate was strong enough to fill a 12-ounce cup without sputtering. That independence is a real convenience for places that serve a mix of espresso-based drinks and regular coffee, because you're not compromising on temperature or speed. Now let's get into the day-to-day workflow. The semi-automatic nature of the machine means you still have manual control over grind size, dose, temp pressure, and extraction time. That's exactly what a professional barista wants. You're not handing over everything to a pre-programmed one-touch system. The machine's control panel is straightforward, a few knobs for temperature, a pressure gauge, and dedicated steam and hot water switches. There's no confusing menu of presets, which is a relief for anyone who's ever tried to navigate a touchscreen that freezes mid-brew. However, that simplicity also means you need a decent amount of skill to dial in the right parameters. If you're a newcomer who's still learning how to pull a consistent shot, expect a short learning curve. The machine won't automatically adjust for under-extracted coffee, you'll have to tweak the grind and dose yourself. For seasoned baristas, that's a feature, not a flaw, because it gives you the freedom to experiment with different beans and profiles. Cleaning and maintenance are where the UMJIGF tries to be user-friendly. The stainless steel exterior wipes clean with a damp cloth, and the brew group is removable for routine back flushing. The hot water line has a quick-release fitting that lets you decal without dismantling the whole unit. In practice, you'll still need to schedule regular cleaning, daily backflush, weekly descaling, and occasional inspection of the steam wand for milk residue. What the machine does well is make those tasks less cumbersome compared to larger commercial rigs that hide hard-to-reach parts behind panels. If you're running a small shop with limited staff, that ease of service can keep downtime to a minimum. On the flip side, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs. The first is the power draw. Dual boiler machines need a solid electrical supply, usually a dedicated 240-volt line. If you're